Good morning everyone and welcome back to this new video. So today is time for our weekly recap. I'm going to make a quick recap on every trade that we have taken during this week. So the first setup that I've shared with you is this one on EURUSD in H1. This setup was sent on Monday in our Telegram channel. So this one here is really simple. It is a simple structure mapping. When you look at EURUSD at that time, the structure is completely bearish and creating a breakup structure, bearish breakup structures, and after that the market has changed character to the upside and take out inducement here. So I marked the decisional order block here and the extreme order block here. So when the market will drop and mitigate our decisional order block, we can switch to our lower time frame to take to look for a confirmation before we can take our buy here. And there was a small trap here. Because of this small liquidity here, there was a possibility for the market to push downside to take out this liquidity before pushing higher. Okay, if the market doesn't break and close below it and sweep this liquidity, then it is still possible to take a buy here based on lower time frame confirmation. Or if the market break below this decisional order block and completely close below it, then we should expect the market to push downside to mitigate this extreme order block before pushing higher. Okay, so this was the scenario, this was the possible scenario I expected on this setup. Unfortunately, the market didn't come down to mitigate any of our decisional order block or extreme order block here. Okay, the market has pushed higher and gave us a new structure, which is here. So after that, the market has pushed higher to break a new structure, to completely create a new structure, and then we expected the market to push downside to take out inducement. The market has taken this inducement here and has cleared this previous day low here. So this one at this moment we can take a small buy here. Okay, the market is bullish, but the trap is that there's a huge imbalance here that the market can possibly push downside to fill and mitigate our decisional order block before pushing higher. Okay, so this one was like a low probability setup, this one is a mid probability setup, and this one is our high probability setup because there was liquidity here, there's the decisional order block here. So if the market push downside to collect all these stop losses, then the extreme order block here will be a really high probability to take a buy on. After wait for the market to create lower time frame confirmations. Okay, but on that day it was day of CPI. Okay, so after making a quick fundamental analysis, I noticed that the market is preparing to sell on EURUSD because most of investors were expecting the CPI to come out way better than expected. So if the CPI come out better than expected, then EURUSD will really drop sharply. Okay, this is why I canceled this setup and took a sell on EURUSD. And let me show it on the live trade here. On the live charts. So let me use bar replay. Okay, so here we are on our daily chart here. After making my fundamental analysis and expected the market to go downside after CPI, then I came here to look for entry confirmation in this daily setup here. So the market has swept this previous day liquidity here, and this one is now our single candle order block, and eventually the market will push high to mitigate it before pushing downside. Okay, so let's move now to M15 to look for additional confirmation in M15. So we see that in M15 here, the market has already given us an indication that it will go downside because this one here is our choke here. The market has given us our choke here, and above here, this one is our extreme order block. Okay, so at this time here, we are like 1 hour away. Yes, we are like 1 hour away from the CPI release. Okay, so at that moment I see that the market has swept London liquidity here at New York Open. The market has swept London liquidity here, so I didn't expect the market to push higher anymore to mitigate my extreme order block here. Then I took my trade only based on this session liquidity swipe here because the CPI was expected to be better than the predictions. Okay, so after that, this one is our single candle order block in M15. So I waited for the market to confirm the single candle order block by closing below this one here. Okay, and then if the market push higher to mitigate my single candle order block, then I will definitely jump in. Okay, and the market eventually came back to mitigate this single candle order block, and this was my entry point here. Okay, and this trade was a valid trade and a high probability one, but it was a high risk also. Why? Because the CPI was going to be released and then when CPI is out, the market doesn't respect your stop loss at all. Okay, the market, if your setup goes wrong, then you will probably lose your account. That's why I didn't share with you in the Telegram channels. Okay, so after that, the market has triggered my sell limit here, and eventually the CPI came out and the market has sharply dropped. Okay, the market has dropped really sharply here. Okay, so this is how I took the trade on EURUSD. So now let's move on our next trade, which was on USD JPY. So here we are on our setup on USD JPY. This setup was sent by one of the members in our premium community, and this was a simple structure mapping. The market has created a change of character, a better change of character here, and pushed higher to take this inducement here. And after that, the market has pushed higher to mitigate this decisional order block, but unfortunately the decisional order block failed. Okay, and the market has pushed higher and keep pushing to mitigate this extreme order block here with a beautiful imbalance here. And then after mitigating this extreme order block here, then we can switch to our lower time frame to look for entry confirmation. Then here the market has mitigated our extreme order block here, and this one is our change of character here. Some will mark this one has a change of character. It's also fine. It is a valid change of character. Okay, but me, I always choose the pullback that has more liquidity. Okay, this one has small liquidity compared to this one, so this is why I chose this change of character here. So after the market has changed character here, this one is our demand to supply, because the market has made a small reaction from this demand zone, and then this demand zone became a supply here. Okay, this supply was created because of this demand zone here. This is why it is called demand to supply. Okay, so after that the market has pushed downside, and then it will push higher. Here the market has broken the structure here and closed above it, and in a higher time frame also there was not a liquidity sweep, so we have to wait for a valid inducement before we can take a sell on USD JPY here. Okay, so this one is our inducement here, because it's really close to my decisional order block in M1 here, and this one is my demand to supply, or my extreme order block in M1 here. So after that the market has pushed higher and completely failed the setup here. But as long as the market doesn't push higher and completely break and close above this setup, then this entry is still valid. Okay, if the market give you any indication in lower time frame, any confirmation, then you can still take a sell here. Okay, and it is exactly what happened, because after failing this setup here, we waited for another change of character and we got one here, and the market has changed this character here, and then we can jump to sell here. Okay, so after that the market has pushed downside, and then at this point you can switch your stop loss to break even, because this one is a major structure in lower time frame and the market has broken it, meaning that the market is really willing to go downside. Okay, and eventually the market has its our take profit. And this setup was sent by one of the member in the group after I made a fundamental analysis on yen, because the yen was very weak. It has almost hit his all-time low, and the government of Japan was threatening to intervene if the yen keep dropping. Okay, this is why we have taken this sell. If the Bank of Japan intervene in some way, then the yen will become strong. Okay, and then USD JPY will drop because the yen is strong. Okay, so this is how we got this trade here. And now let's move to our last trade, which was the one I shared yesterday on USD on US30. Okay, so this trade was also purely based on fundamentals also, because the big banks of Wall Street were expected to give their quarterly reports. Okay, and most of the investors were expecting the reports to be better than expected. And then if these reports are better than expected, then all the US indexes will push higher. Okay, will go bullish. And this is why I came to this chart and look for buy opportunities, and I got one here. When we see a daily chart here, US30, I mean Dow Jones, is completely bullish, breaking structure, making higher highs and taking inducement and pushing higher. Okay, and after that the market dropped to take out this inducement and then mitigate our extreme order block here. And before mitigating our extreme order block, the market has swiped this liquidity and then again swipe another liquidity here before mitigating this extreme order block. So this one is a really high probability because the market has swiped liquidity twice. Okay, so this one was really a high probability here, but there was a small mistake here that I didn't really notice. This order block, this extreme daily order block here is already mitigated here. Okay, even though this extreme order block is not valid, this one here is still valid because the market has grabbed a huge amount of liquidity here and then grabbed again this liquidity here. So this one here is a beautiful indication for a reversal to the upside. Okay, and then I switch to my lower time frame in M15, look for additional confirmation. So this one is our extreme daily order block here, and in M15 the market has created a choke here, and then this one is our day one single candle order block, I mean our confidence level. Okay, so this one here is maybe my my second mistake here, because this one is not a valid order block. Okay, because this small wick here has swept the liquidity of this previous one, but this previous one is completely engulfed by this previous bullish candle here. Okay, so this one is not a valid order block to buy on. Okay, but I expected the market to sweep this to create a lower time frame confirmation before taking a buy here, and later the market has pushed downside to completely I mean it didn't completely broken, but the market has swiped this liquidity here. So I took it like a smart money trap, because this one was not valid, and many traders would think this is a valid one and will put the stop loss just below this one. Okay, and the market has pushed downside to swipe this liquidity, and at that moment I have taken my buy based on this liquidity swipe here. But unfortunately the market has pushed downside later to take out my sell, because the reports came out worse than expected. Okay, the report came out worse than expected. Then all the US indexes start to drop really sharply. This is why this setup failed here. So this one is about our setup on Dow Jones, and the last trade we have taken is the one on gold, and it was shared by one of our members, which is here, this trade right here. So currently gold also is backed by a fundamental news. So this is why gold is really bullish currently. So as I told in the group early this on that day, any swipe of session low or inducement can be a nice opportunity to take a buy. Okay, and this member has spotted this swipe of inducement and the session liquidity, and then he has switched to his lower time frame to take his buy to wait for confirmation, and he has taken his buy here, and I have taken the buy based on its setup as well, because on that day I was really focused on US30, so I didn't have really time to focus on gold. So one of the member, after identified this beautiful setup, it was a valid one, it was a high probability, then I also took the trade with him, and it ended up with a small profit, but it was a nice trade. Okay, so this is it for this trade recap. So tomorrow I'll do my best to upload a new video to prepare the upcoming week, to make my analysis on the major pairs, on gold, on EURUSD, or Dow Jones, or some major pairs that we trade the most in our premium community. Okay, so this is it for this video. So see you tomorrow, guys.